Well, hello, collapsing Western civilization. I am Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO, where we talk about how to build your own location-independent business that sets you free from your 9-to-5 job and your collapsing Western country. And either setting up an international backup plan so you just have somewhere to go when things go really bad, which they will in your lifetime, or moving to a less bad country and doing all these things for very little money. Today, we're going to discuss how to get, for those of you who are new to these business concepts and building your first location-dependent Alpha 2.0 business, how to get your first 3 paying customers. I'm going to call them clients, but they can be customers, clients. That term is really interchangeable. I've talked about how companies either have customers, clients, or patients. So let's just call it clients. And I'm going to talk about that number 3 as a significant number. I'll discuss why that number is important in a minute. Hang on a second. For some reason, it says my internet connection is not good. And that doesn't make sense because it is fantastic because I'm in Dubai. So hang on one moment. So I double check the technology here. What's wrong? Oh, you know what? I think I know what's wrong. Okay, I do know what's wrong. Hang on one second. I'm going to do a switch here. I might blip for a second. Okay, hang on. I was on my phone's Wi-Fi for some reason because I was traveling early this morning. Okay, hang on a moment. I'm double checking again here. A second. Sorry about this. This will take a minute. I may have to restart this stream. Crap. Hang on, I'm going to try something else here. Yep, I have to restart this stream. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, and I'm back. I apologize. That was my fault. I did something stupid. That's impressive because I never do anything stupid. Everything I do is perfect. I never make any mistakes. I'm literally a perfect human there. I'm one of the rare few. So hang on a moment here. Let me get my slides back up the way they were. And what happened was I took a partial day off this morning and a partial day off yesterday. I spent last night at a resort in Ras Al Khaimah, which is about an hour up the beach from here in Dubai. And they have big fancy resorts up there, and I tried one out. I liked it very much. Okay, hang on. Almost done here. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. What a pain in the ass. Hang on. All right. Sorry about that. Problem averted. We good now? Now we're good. Okay, great. Apparently there is a problem if you're trying to watch this on LinkedIn. There's some kind of outage over at LinkedIn right now, so that's beyond my ability to control. One thing before I get started is, and if you're watching the video version of this, I will show you a cover of this. This is my new book, which we're going to pre-release in about 3 or 4 days. It's called Freedom Fortress. Working on this last year for quite a while. And this book talks about things I've never talked about publicly before. It gives you a specific set of parameters on how to protect yourself from A, collapse of the Western world, and B, if it happens, and it might not, we don't know, AI takeover or AI disruption in the next 10 to 20 years. And the big video I did on the collapse of the Western world a few weeks ago was actually not a summary, an excerpt, excuse me, all the statistics I gave about the collapse of America was an excerpt of one of the chapters in this book. So this book is about 5 flags. It is about business. It's about investing. It's a number of topics. And in a few days, I will announce if you would like to, sorry, I can't talk. If you would like to get a pre-order copy of this, and if you get the book, it's only be about $20. You can also get access to something that is secret. Some of you know what this is. It starts with the letter A. It's where you can work with me personally. If you know what this is, please don't talk about it. Only certain people, but you have access to that as well. So that'll be in the next few days. If you're on my email list, you'll get an email. Also, by the way, on my email list, just to make you aware, if you were on my list and you unsubscribed because last year we were doing too many promotions, we were selling too much stuff, those of you on the list, you can vouch for this. I have cut way back on the selling stuff. I've cut back on most of the things I sell last year to focus on the 90-day business builder program. So we don't do a lot anymore. We have a lot more content in that email list and articles and advice than we do sell. Now, we're going to occasionally sell stuff too, of course. That's why I'm here. I'm a capitalist. But anyway, so that book is coming in the next few days or so. Okay, now let's get to our first 3 clients. Hang on. Glass of water. If you're watching the video version of this, you can see the slides. If you are listening to the podcast version of this, that's okay. I will verbalize everything in the slides as always. If you prefer the podcast version of this, you can go to calebjones.com/podcast. I am on all the usual podcast platforms. Now, getting your first paying clients, your first 3 paying clients from your brand new location independent Alpha 2.0 business under the models that we talk about. So before we get into the specific steps, I'm going to give you step-by-step steps on how to do this, how to get your first 3 clients for your new business. This pre-assumes that you have done everything correctly up until this point, the way we teach for the Alpha 2.0 business model here at Unchained CEO. If you're in the 90-day business builder program, don't worry, you've already done the correct steps. It's already there. These steps I'm going to cover are not going to work if you just half-assed it and just said, oh, I want to do AI, so I'm going to sell an AI thing. No, those aren't the correct steps. So I'm going to summarize the correct steps very quickly because I have full podcasts on every one of these steps. If you're interested in like how to find a niche and things like that, I have numerous podcasts on how to find a niche, numerous resources in this. I have courses in this stuff. I've covered this in other places. Okay. So when I say you've done everything right before getting to the point where you get your first few clients, here's specifically what I mean. Now, let me back up for a second. This is not only important, it is critically important. On my other channel, Alpha Male 2.0, when I teach like dating advice for men, for example, is one of the topics we cover over there. Imagine you trying to be successful on a second date. If you're a guy, some of you are women, most of you are men. Let's say you're on a second date with a cute girl or a cute woman, depending on what term you like, and you try to get a successful second date, however you define that. I have specific definitions. You go there if you want. But let's say you're going to attempt that after having a first date that you did everything wrong on. You did everything wrong on the first date. It was awful. How effective is your second date going to be, even if I give you, or any other dating coach or dating guy gives you specific exact parameters on how to have a successful second date, and you do all of them perfectly? You do the second date perfectly, you do the first date horribly. Are you going to be successful? No, you're not. Unless you are lucky. So business works the same way. If you're to go after your first few clients and you do everything wrong up until that point, you don't pick a niche, you haven't done any market research at all, you're just coming up with something you want to do, you're completely guessing on the price, you're completely guessing on the branding, you're just guessing. The odds are that these steps I'm about to show you aren't going to work because you haven't laid the proper groundwork. Other than being lucky. Can people be lucky? Yes, people can be lucky. That's right. But as Michael Gerber, is one of his favorite quotes, is you cannot emulate luck. So we don't want to rely on luck. You know, it's really interesting. I listened in the 90s. I'm dating myself. My big guru back then was Brian Tracy. And back then we had audio cassettes if you wanted to listen to business topics in your car. And he had an audio cassette album of 6 audios called The Luck Factor. So my favorite old school business albums I've ever owned. I ripped the audio from the cassette to MP3s many years ago, so I still have the audio. And basically what he talks about in there is he goes through the concept of luck. He's like, can you emulate luck? No. You got to forget about luck. Because if someone else is lucky, if your best friend wins the lottery, can you reverse engineer what he did so you could win the lottery too? No, you can't. It's luck. But he talks about, however, you have statistical probability. So you can create more luck if you do 2 things. One is you come up with a system which maximizes the probability of the event occurring that you want, minimizes the probability that it doesn't occur, a system that maximizes your odds of return. Then you go do that thing hundreds, if not thousands of times over again. Massive volume in action. Therefore, you get lucky. What happens then is you'll start getting customers, clients, whatever, and it'll feel like you were lucky, but you weren't. You put the odds of probability in your favor. Okay. So that means you have to do these things first before you get your first 3 clients, or else the steps I'm going to cover in a few minutes aren't going to work for you. They're not. And if you are familiar with my content, you know what I'm going to say, because I've discussed these in great detail in past podcasts. Number 1, you have found a super narrow niche. No niche can be too small. No niche can be too narrow. The more narrow it is, the better it is. The more money you will make, the faster you'll make it. I'm going to teach people how to lose weight. Everybody needs to lose weight. That's not narrow. I'm going to teach doctors how to lose weight. Doctors is not a niche. It's too broad. Narrow niche. Number 1. Number 2, you have uncovered, that's a key word there, you have uncovered that niche's biggest problem. Notice I did not say you have determined their biggest problem. That's something that you come up with. No, you have done research into the niche to find out what their biggest problem is, irrelevant of you. And if you're in the 90 Business Builder program, or I've ever been, you know, we hammer you with this. We just had our first niche session that I did in the 90-day Biz Builder program, 90daybizbuilder.com, on Saturday. And Billy and I were on there, and Jeff was on. We were telling people, you've got to take yourself out of the equation when you do this. You can't just say, I'm good at computers, therefore I'm an accountant, therefore I'm going to sell accounting. I like AI because that's cool. So no. Narrow niche. Ask them what their problem is, and you get consensus from at least 5 people who don't know each other in that niche, and they all say, yeah, this is my biggest problem, without you leading the witness saying, is this your biggest problem? No. You say, what's your biggest problem? And you shut your fucking mouth and listen to what they say. And if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people all say the same thing, boom, that's their biggest problem. Okay. Number 3, you are selling something very specific. I talk about this a lot. You are selling a coaching thing, that means one-on-one or one on very small groups. Coaching. Consulting, that means you are working with companies. Or you're selling a service, which means you do the thing for them. And that's all you're selling. You're not selling an ebook. You're not selling an online course. You're not doing drop shipping. You're not doing a SaaS business. You're not doing crypto. You're not doing any of that stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with those business models. I have made a lot of money with some of them. A lot of money with some of them. But those are my second, third, fourth businesses. The problem with those things is they take too long to make money. I want you making money within 90 days. That's why it's called 90-day business builder. I want you making money within a few months so you can quit your fucking job as fast as you can and get location dependent as fast as you can. If you read my blog, calebjones.com/blog, I show you the data on there. You don't have time anymore. You don't have time to screw around. So if your first business is, I'm going to write an ebook, I have made literally multi-seven figures selling ebooks over the past 15 years or so. So that's a great business, but that wasn't my first business. My first business was, if you know my story, consulting. I was an IT/productivity consultant for many years. I was making six figures as a consultant for over 10 years before I made my first penny online. Every once in a while, some new people will come to my audience, and they'll be hesitant. They'll be suspicious, and they'll say, wait a second. So like, you make all this money. I mean, did you make money before you sold courses, or did you make money just selling courses, telling people how to? Yes. Yes, I'm not going to say how much money I'm worth. I have made six-figure income. I was making six-figure income as a consultant before I made for 13 years. I think that's the number. Before I made my first penny selling my first ebook or anything online. I mean, I'll give you exact dates. I was a consultant, full-time consultant, part-time before 1996, full-time in October 1, 1996. I didn't make any money online for real until real money until 2009. So there you go. It's 13 years, right? Right? If I did the math correctly. So if you want to do an ebook, if you want to do a course, if you want to, great. Do those things as business number 2 or income stream number 2 or 3 or 4. That's the model you want. That's not your first business. It's going to take you forever to make money if you sell an ebook or make a video course. No, you want to do coaching, consulting, or a service. So advising individuals on how to solve their problem, coaching, advising companies on how to solve their problem, consulting, or solving the problem for them, service. Any one of those are awesome. You could be making money within doing coaching, consulting, or service within a few weeks. You can make thousands of dollars in a few weeks. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Okay? But that's not going to happen if you're going to do a SaaS business or drop shipping. Are you going to make money within 90 days selling an ebook? No. Are you going to make money in 90 days selling an online video course? No. Are you going to make money in 90 days doing SaaS or something like that, or building an app? No. Are you going to make money in 9 days being a drop shipper? Probably no. You might make a few $100, maybe. You might squeeze out a little bit. No, you're not. They take too long. I'm not saying they're bad. They're wonderful. That's Billy talks about this all the time in Business Builder. That's business number 2, or income stream number 2 or 3 or 4. Okay. Anyway, your coaching, consulting, or service that solves or alleviates the problem the niche has already told you they have. Not the problem you want to solve. No one cares about you. Okay. Last one, you have set up your logistics, and that's a fancy way of saying you now have an easy way or several ways of people to pay you. So if you're talking to me on the phone, I say, all right, and you say my fee is $1,000 or $2,000, whatever, and I say, okay, let's start right now. I'll pay you right now. If you go, well, wait a minute, I don't know how you pay me. That's not going to work. You should have a payment link set up or a website set up with a payment button or something. So those logistics are ready to go. So if you get someone on the phone or through other means on the internet where they click a link and they click a PayPal button or a pay button or a Stripe button or whatever, they can buy it. And it goes right in your account and you have the money. These 4 things. You have to do these 4 things. And if you have not done these 4 things, I make no guarantees on these steps I'm about to show you that will work well. They may not work well at all, because the vast majority of business owners, new business owners, don't do any of these. They do number 4. They have a way of getting paid. That's it. They do not pick a niche. They don't even think about a niche. They absolutely do not examine the problem on the niche. They just come up with a cool idea they thought of or heard of on the internet. And sometimes they're doing coaching, consulting, or service, but often they're not. They're selling a course or doing something that's going to take them a million years to make money. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step instructions in a minute. Before we go through this, I need to give you the overview of the things you can do and not do during these steps to get your first 3 paying clients. Let me back up really quick. No, I'm not going to talk about that in a minute. Number 1, your price on the first 1, 2, or 3 clients you get in your company, it's one of the techniques I've been teaching for a long time, is very flexible. What if they don't want to hire me because I'm new and I picked the wrong, I charge the money, the price is too much and I don't know, oh my God, I'm a listing, I'm a pussy. Okay, what you do, the answer is, then you can negotiate the price. If you say my price is $3,000, they go, holy shit, I'm not paying that, you idiot. They won't say that, by the way, but let's say they do. I'll give you a worst case scenario. You say, okay, well, I'm very flexible about this. How about $1,000? That's fine. Get the business. In some cases, usually don't need to do this, but in some cases, we've had a few people do this in Business Builder. The first client's free. I don't love that, but that can work, provided you do the other steps that I'm talking about in a minute. Very flexible in the first 1, 2, or 3 clients just to get your foot in the door, get the business, learn how to do what you're doing, get some testimonials. Then starting with client number 4, you're off the races. Only your first 3 clients. You do not negotiate your prices once you have 3 clients, once you've gone through 3. Try hiring me for consulting or coaching or something, and I give you a price. Try negotiating with me and watch what happens. I'll be like, goodbye, click. This is my price. Work with me or not. But these aren't my first 1 to 3 clients. I've been in business for many, many, many years. I'm able to do this. So once you hit client number 4, your price is your price. Now, you can use the experiences of your first 3 clients to adjust your pricing. Maybe your pricing is too high. Rarely is it too high. It's almost always too low, and you should raise the goddamn thing. So usually you need to raise your prices. So you can help figure out a price point with your first 1 to 3 clients because you have a lot more confidence. Then you say, boom, as a client number 4, this is my price, and I'm not negotiating on it. Now, what you can do off the topic for this particular presentation, but you can and should have multiple price levels, 2 levels or 3 levels, and price options, add-ons, things like that, so you can negotiate that way. But if your lowest level price is X dollars, that's how it is for client number 4 and going forward. But under client number 4, client number 1, 2, or 3, be as flexible as you want. Be a business beta male. That's fine for the first 3 clients. We all got started. Man, I remember doing this. I did this myself way back in 1995, 96. I got my first few clients. If they complained about the price, I said, well, okay, how about this? I don't care. I didn't see the business. I just prove the model. Okay. First 3 clients. So that also alleviates a lot of your fear about why would they work with me? What if I choose the wrong price? What if that? What if this? All your little fears you have because you've been societally brainwashed to be an employee your whole life. On that topic, and this is one of the most common questions I get from you guys in the comments and the emails and things like that. It's one of the common questions I get. Well, what if I'm brand new and I've never done this before, and what if they challenge me and they say, well, have you done this before? And I go, well, oh no. Well, then no one will hire me. How do I handle that? Here's how you handle it. And I did this myself back when I was 24 years old. When I was 25 years ago, I was a very young man. If you're challenged on being new, and by the way, most people will not challenge you on this. Because if you follow the instructions I'm about to give you in a minute, they will already know. But if you get someone who challenges you on this, fine, you own it and you're honest with it. You say, you're right. I'm brand new. I have never done this. This is a new business. So here's what I'll do. Normally, I would charge blank. I'll charge you blank, something smaller. There you go. That's use that to negotiate. And again, I said completely flexible. So here, let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say whatever you're selling is $2,000. I'm just going to make up that number, okay? and you go to one of your prospects. You haven't hired anyone yet. No one's hired you yet, excuse me. And you get a kind of a hard ass. And he says, well, why should I hire you? You've never done this before. You say, well, you're right. I've never done this before. Correct. So my fee is $2,000. And I know this fee is a good fee because if we solve or alleviate this problem that you've already stated you have, I will make you or save you X amount of money, which will more than pay for the $2,000. You already have that verbiage ready to go. Okay. So you throw that back at him. You're going to make money on my $2,000. You're going to make a lot more money. Anyway, but you know what? You're right. I am new. So how about this? Instead of charging you $2,000, I'll just charge you $1,000. I'll give a 50% discount because I'm new. Is that fair? If you follow those prior steps I just talked about, narrow niche, blah, 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 problem, they should say yes. What if the guy comes back and says, nah, I'll do it for 500. He's a total asshole. What do you do? Great, take it. All right, boom, 500 with one extra thing I'm going to talk about in a second. Great, $500. Great. Take it. Take the business. If it's your first 1 or 2 or 3 clients, it's fine. You just need the experience and you need the money. Caveat to this. Always, for your first several clients, it really should be every client, and I've been personally very bad at this. Is one of my weak areas. But especially for your first 1 to 5 clients, you must get a testimonial. You must tell them that up front, especially if you drop the price. So in that scenario, you say, all right, fine, I'll do it for you for $500, normally $2,000. But here's the deal, Mr. Prospect. When I'm done working with you, you're going to give me a testimonial. That justifies me reducing the price by 75% for you. You're going to give me a testimonial, and you need to spell out what that means. Usually the best testimonials is someone pulls out their phone and talks for 30 seconds. Hey, I work with Joe on helping with me at this problem. We had this problem when he started. When we're done, he helped me with this problem. He was professional. It was great. I highly recommend him. Click. That's all you need. If they can't do a video, they're terrified, then they do a letter. On their letterhead, and you scan it or take a picture with your phone with a signature on it. Worse than that would be, maybe their picture by it. Okay, their picture by it and a quote and their full name. Okay, so you want at least that. That's important. And I did do this back in the olden days when I was first started my business. I would demand what I did back then. This is, not pre-internet, but kind of pre-internet, is I demanded, you will give me a testimonial letter on your letterhead from the president of your company, because dealing with smaller companies, small businesses, which the president is easy, saying, we started here, we got here, and then talking about how professional I am and how you're the best consultant you've ever worked with. And if you don't want to write it, you can use this. If you don't want to write the testimonial, I'll write it, and you approve it and sign it. Because I don't have time to write a testimonial. I'll write it, and you just read it really quick and say, okay, fine, sign it. A lot of people will do that. Very important, because you're going to roll into client number 4+ with 3 or 4 testimonials. Very powerful. Also, this also helps you mentally, because again, you're probably going to be a lissig and a pussy about this. Why would a new hire me? I'm an idiot. Okay, when you have 2 or 3, you got even just 2 little testimonials from people you've already worked with, gives you a lot of confidence, because you go into the next interview or the next pitch for the person, and you're like, look, I got testimonials now. They can't say you never done this before now. Now I'm good. Helps you emotionally, which is really important. You are going to be very uncomfortable with this entire process. The first one client, I've said this many times, the first client you get in a new business is the first customer is the hardest one you'll ever get. It's hard. Mentally. Logistically, it's very easy. Mentally, it's hard. So you're going to be scared. You're going to be uncomfortable. In the first orientation of 90-day business builder, which I just did on Saturday for our new groups, for our big new incoming group, I went through this with them. I said, guys, you're going to be scared. And there's going to be parts of the process. Maybe it's getting that client. Maybe it's finding the niche. Maybe it's the pricing. Maybe it's the website, something. It'll be very intimidating for you. You're going to be very uncomfortable. That is normal. You are not a business owner unless you're uncomfortable when you first get started. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, these guys, read their shit. These guys were terrified when they first got started when they were young. I was terrified. Terrified. Not terrified. That's over. I was very uncomfortable. I did not like it. It's okay. Fear in these scenarios is a green light to proceed. By the way, that's something in life. I talk about this on my other channel. When you feel fear in these scenarios, that means good, you need to proceed. Good, you're on the right track. Your obsolete biological wiring, which I talk about in my books, tells you that if you feel fear, that's when you need to back off and go another direction. Wrong. In these types of scenarios, other scenarios too, I talk about on the channel. When you feel fear, that is your obsolete biological wiring telling you to proceed. That's the universe telling you to lean into this and go. The first client's the hardest. It'll never be hard that difficult ever again. It won't. The first client. I didn't say it wouldn't be hard. It won't be that hard. Second client will be easier. Third one will be easier. Fourth one will be easier. By the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth customer, it'll be a breeze. It'll be, oh, this is so, you'll be like, why didn't I do this 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Why was I so scared about this? It's so easy. Just be aware of this, okay? Marketing's scary if you've never done it before. Now I'm going to show you some techniques we don't need to market traditionally. Get your first 1 to 3 clients. Just be aware during this process, you're going to be scared and or uncomfortable. I've done entire podcasts on this. I'm not going to scream and bitch at you guys today about this, but the reason that those of you who do not yet have your location-dependent business, even though you've been consuming this kind of content from me and other people for years and years and years and years and years and years, you've just been making excuses in it. The reason you haven't done it yet, because you're a pussy. And I say that with love. You're a pussy because you're too comfortable. And you don't want to do anything uncomfortable or scary, so you just stick with your 9-to-5 job you hate. And you're going to go down with the ship with the collapsing USA and Google Canada, suicidal Europe. You just can't get location dependent because you won't start your own business because you're scared. Those of you, and there's many of you now, I'm really changing my audience especially last year and a half. I've been very impressed with a lot of you guys. Those of you who have made that transition and went through the pain, you went through the pain and now you're good, right? Many of you are already in Paraguay. Some of you are already in Mexico, Colombia. Some of you here in Dubai. There's a handful of you here in Dubai. Great. You already went because you went through the pain. Just remember this. Especially when I go through the steps now. I'm going to go through the steps and you're like, well, that sounds good. I'd be scared. That's right. You'll be scared. Do you think you'll be scared once you're making $7,000 a month location dependent and go anywhere in the world you want, whenever you want? The money keeps coming whenever you come in. You don't have to worry about your collapsing country anymore. And you can actually live life on your own terms and never have a job ever again. You think you'll give a fuck about the little fear you felt about your first client? Do you think I ever give any thought whatsoever to the fear I felt for my first client back in 1996 today? You think I think about that at all? This is the first time I've thought about it, talking about this in this podcast. It doesn't matter. It's transitory. It goes away. You've just got to get over that hump. Okay? That's why I'm here, to help you get over that hump. Or don't, and make more excuses and say, well, I don't hate my job too much. And, maybe Trump will. Go ahead, make all the excuses. And in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you're going to be fucked. And I'll say, I told you. All right. Now, here are the actual steps. You ready for this? Here are the steps now with all that context. And that context is important. Okay, you've done everything right. Blah, 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 right? Here are the actual steps. You must do these steps in order. There's a specific order to these steps. Don't do this out of order. Do it in this order. Okay? How to get your first 3 paying customers. Number 1, you go back and you recontact the people you already spoke to when you did your niche research. And you say, hey, it's Caleb again. Hey, Caleb, how you doing? A lot of these people in Business Builder, they develop relationships with these people because they call them several times. And you remember we were talking 2 weeks ago about your biggest problem is da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, oh, yes. Oh, yep. That's my biggest problem. Hey, how about this? I've just set up a business where I specifically go in and I do X, Y, and Z, and I solve that problem, or I alleviate that problem. Let me pause for a second. You don't necessarily have to solve the problem. Sometimes you can't solve it, but you can dramatically alleviate it. Can I take the productivity of your company? If you have a medium-sized company of 500 employees, and I'm a productivity consultant, which I've been for many years, can I take your company and get your productivity? Can I improve your productivity by 500%? No. Can I improve it by 40, 50, 60, 70? Yes, I can. That's a lot of money to you. So solve or alleviate the problem. Okay. Hey, what I do is I come and do X, Y, and Z to solve or alleviate your problem. Depending on what the problem is. Would you be interested in doing that? Well, yeah. How much? And by the way, if they say how much, they're interested. Even if they say it like this, how much? Doesn't matter how they say it. If someone says how much, they're interested. If you're pitching me, literally me, Caleb, you're pitching me something, people pitch me shit all the time. When I say, and that's usually how I say it because I don't like spending money. Yeah, how much? That means I'm interested. Because think about this. If you weren't interested at all, would you ask how much? You'd be like, no, I'm good. Thanks. I'm good. Nope. If you go, how much? That's an immediate demonstration of interest. And now it's just what? A negotiation because it's your first one with 3 clients. You say, well, my fee is this. But you don't say my fee is this. You say something like, well, your problem costs you about blank per month, right? Or blank per year, right? Based on our last conversation. Yeah, that's about right. So your problem, I'll give you an example. This is called value-based pricing. This comes right from Alan Weiss. And you can do this with coaching, consulting, or a service. And it's different variations depending on what you're selling. But I'm just giving you an overview. So the problem you're talking about of whatever the problem is, the niche, costs your company or costs you or causes this problem, $100,000 a year, right? Is that about right? Yeah, that's about right. Great. So my fee is $10,000. I get 10,000, you get 90,000. Is that fair? Can I charge $10,000 for my? Yes, you can. For your first service. Yes, you can. Yes, you fucking can. If it solves a problem, a big problem, yes. Now, if your niche is coaching individuals, maybe not. Maybe not 10,000. 3,000, 2,000, 500, 997. Pricing is a whole different topic. But the answer is yes, you could charge a lot. Now, if he says, I'm not paying 10,000, oh, well, what do you think is fair? Negotiate, get the business. We have had numerous, and I mean numerous people in 90-Day Business Builder get their first client from the people they did research on. I've told this story a few times. Well, let's see. We've had other cases since then, actually. We've had scenarios. I'm thinking of at least 3 of them. And if Jeff or Billy was on here, they could tell you more. Of people where they're doing niche research. This may happen to some of you too. If you do this, when you're doing the research on the niche, hey, what's your biggest problem? Some people will say, can you fix it? And you get a client right there. We had one guy get a $5,000 client, first client, boom, within 5 weeks from someone doing niche research. Now, that's not typical. But what is relatively typical is when you go back to the people you already talked to and ask them. You haven't run any ads. You've done no marketing yet. You're just asking the people you already talked to who already know you. So that's step 1. You do that. Step 2, this is something Billy is very big on. And this is how I got started my first business. So we're both big on this. You utilize your own network. Do I have this here? Statistically speaking, you have your first 1 or 2 clients in your existing network right now without having to do 1 minute of marketing. Just talk to people in your network. Even if someone in your network refers you to someone. So what you do is, here's what you do. This is going to sound very primitive. This works. I've had people do this. They make money. I did this to make money. This is exactly what I did in, late 1996. I did this exact thing. I said, who's everybody I know? And I made a big list. Made a list of 120 names. You know what Dunbar's number? Most people know between 120 and 150 people. You make a big fucking list, get a spreadsheet out, make a list. Everyone you know, everyone you've ever known. Everyone in your family, including your extended family. All of your friends going all the way back to high school. I'm not kidding. College, high school, back in your past. People you used to date. I'm not kidding. Acquaintances. All the coworkers you now have and all the coworkers you've had in the past. All the bosses you worked for. All the people you went in college with. All of your teachers. Everybody you know. Hop on your Facebook or your LinkedIn and go down that list and make a list of those people. You'll be shocked at the number of people you can put on this list. You want at least 120 names. Get a big list, and then you contact all of them. Phone is the best. If you don't have their phone numbers, you can DM them on your personal social media, your personal, like your personal Facebook, for example. Okay. You can text them, great. And if you haven't talked to them in a long time, say, hey, how's it going? You have a little talk, blah, 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 blah. How's it going? What are you doing for work? Blah, blah, blah. You ask questions. Very similar to a first date. Ask questions. What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then they'll say, what do you do? What are you doing right now? Well, actually, what I'm doing is I have a business where I help niche solve this problem. I help this niche solve that. We'll call it elevator pitch. And you talk about that and say, hey, do you know anybody who's in this niche who da-da-da-da-da-da? Now, most people are going to say no. But some people are going to say, well, actually, I am. I know a guy. Or I know a guy. Or, yeah, I work in da-da-da-da. Great. Hey, can I get his number? Sure, here it is. Then if you need to call that guy, you call that. Hey, Bob, I was talking to Joe. Joe's a friend of mine, or Joe's my cousin, or I went to college with Joe. Blah, 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 blah. And he was talking about you are blah, 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 in the niche. You're blah, 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 and you describe the niche. Is that right? That's exactly right. My understanding from people like you or companies like you is that your biggest problem is usually this problem. Is that a problem you're experiencing? Oh, hell yeah. Well, great. And you just go right into your thing. I'm going to say this again. Statistically speaking, your first 1 or 2 paying clients, and often that's a big paying client, depending on what you're selling, especially if you're selling consulting, are already in your own network. Leverage the power of your network. You know, I should bring Billy on and we should do an entire thing on leveraging your network because she's better at that than I am. She's really good at that. I'm not so much, a little bit. Mental note, Caleb, have Billy come on to do a podcast on how to leverage your network to get business. Okay. Subconscious, remember that. Yes, master. Okay, good. Number 3. So again, we're doing this in order now. So first you've contacted people you already contacted. Then you're contacting your own network, 120 names. Now, if you don't have enough clients yet, you go to the 3rd step. If you get any clients from those first 2 steps, and you statistically will, you'll get 1 or 2. The next thing you do is you get referrals from that client. Do you know anyone else in this niche who you think I could help? Well, Caleb, they might be their competitors. People know people who are not competitors in the same niche. Maybe they're in a different region or whatever. That's not correct. They know. People know people. The people who know the most people in your niche are people who are already in the niche. So you talk to them. Those are very precious. Those are gold mines for you. So you ask them, hey, do you know anyone else who da-da-da-da who I could help? Oh, yeah. And then your goal is, this is a standard sales thing, is your goal is to get at least 2 names. People who sell insurance, if anyone's sold you insurance before, it's happened to me. They sell you like life insurance for your family or something. And so the technique is, and when they do it, I know the technique because I know sales. So they pull out a pad, a pen, and the woman or the guy says, so do you know anyone else who might need life insurance? Give me an example. Who's someone you know? They put their pen down, they look down, and they wait for you to say a name. And they want 2 names out of you. Do the same thing. You know other people in the niche who, blah, 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 blah. And probably they'll know someone. There are individual salespeople in certain sales teams, sales niches, and things like that who do no cold calls and no cold outreach and make 6 figures and sometimes 7 figures. Because what they do is they constantly ask for referrals of everyone they talk to. Even the people they talk to who say no on the phone, no, I don't want your service, or no, I'm not your niche. Hey, would you know someone who might? And they have a whole system for this. Word of mouth is very powerful. Hey, I know Bob, our mutual friend Bob, who? Okay. So that's the 3rd thing you do, referrals. Now, if you don't get any business from step 1 or step 2, it's possible you won't. Usually you will. Possibly, then you got to go to step 4. Now you start marketing. Notice I didn't say step 1, start running ads, or step 1, start making cold calls to random people who don't know you. No, that's marketing, and you don't have to do marketing until step 4. So you really don't need to do marketing for real. In most cases, you have your first 1, 2, some cases, if you're lucky, 3 clients. But once you've exhausted 1, 2, and 3, you now start step 4, which is actual marketing. But notice how well in the process you did before that, right? Marketing is a very big topic. So that is germane to this presentation. I'm going to discuss it, but I'm not going to go into great detail on it. If you want me to do a more detailed marketing thing, I probably should, and I probably will. But here's this works. When you're marketing in a new business, you have 2 different paths to take. You can do free marketing or paid marketing. Okay. Depends how much money you have. If you are starving and you have no cash, well, you can't run ads because you have no money. So guess what? You're going to do free. Or in some cases, that was my case. You have plenty of money, but you hate spending money because you're a fucking miser and you don't like spending money and you're a tight ass. Okay, fine. You're going to do free marketing. So you do free marketing or you do paid marketing. I'll cover both. Okay. But you make that decision. Caleb, can I do both? Can I do free and paid? Depends how much time you have in the week. It depends. If you're still working your full-time job, and likely you are, I don't know. If you told me, let's say we had a conversation, we were talking about this. Hang on a second. Caleb, can I do both? Well, how many hours a week do you work at your day job, including commuting time? Oh, about 55 hours a week. Okay. Do you have any kids? Yeah, I got 2 kids. Okay, well, do you have other things you have to do every week? Yeah, I coach Little League and da-da-da-da. I said, well, then no, you can't do 2 at the same time. You have too much shit to do. Now, can I do both at the same time? How much time do you spend at your day job? I quit my day job. I have no job. I got all week. I got nothing planned. Great. You can do both at the same time. To mention how much time you have. If you got the time, great. Do both. Be awesome. Most people don't have the time to do both. Pick one. Pick one and get good at it. Okay. Free marketing. Free marketing is if you visualize this as like a flow chart or a diagram. You have free marketing. So you have marketing at the top, then you have free marketing and paid marketing under that. Then under free marketing, it really is 3 categories for the beginner: cold calls, cold DMs, or joint ventures. Cold calls, start with that. Cold calls means you hire a scraper. If you don't know what a scraper is, that's a tech nerd you give them a niche and they can magically go out on the internet and pull down people's addresses and phone numbers and email addresses. And what you want is that phone numbers. And they can provide you a list of phone numbers in your niche and you can call them. You come up with a call script. There are several scripts you can find online for free. We have several in Business Builder. Have a script of what you say. Okay. And you get on the phone and you start calling people. Cold calling is one of the fastest ways to get from 0 to the money, even though I understand it's not very fun if you're an introvert. It's not very fun. I've done it. All business owners have done cold calling. I've done it. Done a lot of it. I'll just run through this really quick. I've talked about this in my courses. There is a 4-column model, excuse me, that you follow. You have a spreadsheet. You list all the phone numbers. You call them all once. You do not call people on Mondays or Fridays. You want to call them on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. If it's B2C, maybe you call them Saturday afternoons. Okay. You call them all and you'll get a hold of anywhere from 5% to 25%, depending on the niche. Most people don't answer their phones, but a lot of people do. Depends on the niche. Depends if you're calling a company number, a lot of different factors there. Okay. So you're going to get a hold of, let's say you get a hold of 20%. Great. You get a yes or no from them. Then you have another 80% of those names you're going to call. You bring them over to column 2. You call them again on a different day of the week and a different time of the day. You're going to get 20% of them are going to get another 80%. Go over to the third column. You do 4 columns. On the 4th pass, then you could leave them a voicemail that you have rehearsed. You don't leave a voicemail on the first. That's stupid. And then also, you should also reach out on email and other means with a very specific script and a very specific path to take for the sale. Okay. And again, I'm going to repeat this. If you're working with a narrow niche and you are selling coaching, consulting, or service that directly addresses their problem, it's not going to be hard. Cold calling is hard when the business was your idea, which is 99% of new business owners. They come up with a cool idea that they want to sell, and they have to try to convince people to buy their thing. I've said this many times, if you have to convince people to buy your thing, you're in the wrong business. You don't have to convince your niche to solve the problem they're already having. You don't. So this is very easy. Your close ratio is going to be very high as compared to people just selling whatever. Not even close. That's why niching is so powerful. Okay. Cold DMs. That means you go on forums, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, sometimes Reddit. You got to be careful about this. You provide value to the forum. You answer questions. You make friends. You friend request people. And then you DM them, have a conversation, say, hey, by the way, I have a business where I solved da-da-da problem. If you want to check it out, here's the link. If you want to check it out, you give them the link, boom. And you do that a lot. You could even hire someone to do this. That is how I became well-known on the internet. Way back in 2008, 2009, I was on a bunch of pickup artist forums, which were a big deal way back then. I made a name for myself, and that's where I started selling ebooks and things like that. That's exactly how I got started, was cold DMs, cold forum stuff. Joint ventures, very complex. I'll just summarize it. What you do is you call other companies that sell something to the same niche that is complementary, not competing. And you make a deal with them. You say, hey, you have a mailing list of 10,000 people, or you've already worked with 500 of these companies. Help me market to your list, and I'll pay you 30%, 40%, 50%, sometimes 70% of anything I make. It's free money for you, and you work out a deal. Most people are going to say no because you're new, but some people are going to say yes. You call a bunch of people. And that way you're fishing for whales instead of minnows. So you get one person to say yes in a JV, you make a lot of money. One person. One says yes, you're going to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 50, 60, 70 clients in one big pile. It's great. But you got to make a bunch of phone calls because most people say, who the fuck are you? I don't know who you are. I'm not marketing you to my business. But some people will say yes, especially if you're nice and you're friendly. And you're focused on the problem the niche already has, because these people who sell to the niche are going to be aware of this problem also. So if you contact these people, say, look, I have a coaching, consulting, whatever, or service that directly addresses their problem of this XYZ, that person on the phone is going to go, well, shit, that's cool, because yeah, they have that problem. And I don't solve that problem. I solve a different problem. I've made a lot of money from joint ventures, both offline and online, both. Going back to the 90s, a lot of money. It's great. A little more complicated. Now, let's talk about paid. If you have some money to spend, you run paid ads. If you're a beginner, you want to run them on Facebook or YouTube. There are pros and cons to both. It's a little complex outside the scope of this. You run ads, and you have to set up, do I have this in the slides here? You need to develop a simple sales funnel. Sales funnels get very complicated. Matter of fact, the big project I'm working on right now, I'm working on not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 big, complex sales funnels, the kinds of which I've never done in my life. It's blowing my brains out right now. That's why I took some time off, because it's very complex. But you, as a beginner, a simple sales funnel, and here's what it is. It's real simple. And I made millions of dollars with this simple. Simple doesn't mean bad. I made 7 figures doing this, okay? Here it is. You run an ad targeted to the niche, where the ad identifies the niche, talking about their problem. So you're going to get a lot of clicks on that ad, and a lot of people are going to watch that ad because you're targeting a narrow niche with their problem, okay? The call to action CTA is to go to a page. You click the button, it goes to a web page that goes to an opt-in page. Squeeze page. They're both synonymous. And they opt in and they get a free thing. A lead magnet, which is a really cool thing. It's free content you've designed that's really, really good. It's something you would have charged money for, but you're going to give away for free. They opt with their email, and then they get their thing, autoresponder. You follow up some more emails, and then you send a link to your sales page, and then you make your pitch of the thing you're selling. And then the sales page is either click buy now if your thing is under $2,500, or it's click to schedule a call if it's over $2,500. There's your funnel. And you run ads for that. The most important part of the ad is the hook. That's the first 2 to 5 seconds of the ad. Something shocking or interesting or funny, and something that identifies the niche. So some of my ads, you've seen some of them, they go, I just go, I'm on a beach, and I go, you're in big trouble. You go, what the fuck? That's a hook. Okay. My friend Igor Hafitz, who has made a lot more money than me online, big name guy. One of his ads is on YouTube. He's like, hi, my name's, and then suddenly there's snow that covers the screen like an old TV. He goes, oh shit. And he kind of hits the camera. Is this on? Oh, fuck. It's all bullshit. It's just part of the hook. People go, what the fuck is this? Really? What an idiot. And they keep watching. Genius. Okay. Hook, problem, agitate, call to action. Here's the problem. Here's you. Here's who you are in the niche. Here's your problem. I can help you solve the problem. Click the link for your free blah, blah, blah. And it goes right into the funnel. That's it. That's all you got to do. You can write a simple funnel into, strong 6 figures. I've used simple funnels for, 15 years. I wasn't doing cold ads for 15 years. So however long I've been doing cold ads, 7 years. Only now am I starting to change them. I should have changed them a while ago, but I'm busy. And that's it. That's you get your first 1 to 3 clients. Follow this model. You should get your first 1 to 3 clients within 90 days. And if you follow the model, you should be able to charge several $1,000s per client. And if you get a handful of clients, you can quit your fucking job within 6 months or less. And I've had people in my programs do it, not just Business Builder, but other programs. In 6 months, they quit their jobs. And if you want to move out of the country, you move out of the country within 6 months or 12 months, and you're free the rest of your life. It's not that hard. Okay. That's it. All right. Questions. Hang on. I'm only going to be around for a few minutes to answer questions. We're trying to keep these podcasts shorter. What are the parades to change a niche? Again, I understand your question. Been at it for at least a year. Only had 2 scheduled calls on the calendar, and most prospects I speak with say they have new needs or don't pick up. Time to readjust or keep going. I have a total of 7 connected future follow-ups. Okay, Darius, I don't know what the hell you're doing for a year. You should have pivoted 11 and a half months ago. I don't know why you're spending a year on this. You're taking way too long. Yes, if they clearly say some niches will say, everything's great. This does happen with some weird niches. We've had people do this. They call up a bunch of people in the niche and say, what's your biggest problem? Actually, everything's great. And you'll hear that from 3 or 4 people. Get out of that niche. It's a horrible niche. But why did that take you a year to figure that out? I don't know what you're doing. How many responses do you need in a niche to validate that it's a pain point across the niche? What we teach is consensus from at least 5 people who don't know each other. 5 people in the niche who don't know each other, who all report the same problem. Now, they can report the problem in different ways. They can use different terms and wording to state the same kind of problem. In the program I can't talk about, one of the people I work with in that program has a niche for, I can't really say too much about it, in the automotive industry. And he has uncovered something where 5, 6 people said this problem, but they used different wording to talk about what the problem was, but it was the same problem. So that's the answer. Is it realistic to find a niche in a month? You can find a niche in a week. You can determine a niche in a week. We take 5 weeks because we want to make sure people do it right. You can do it in a week, not a month. Why don't you like doing for free for the first client if you're new? It's my personal bias. I think you should get paid. But that's Caleb's personal opinion. That's not part of the Alpha 2.0 model set. It's not part of Business Builder, just my opinion. I know what Billy or Jeff or Claire, for the other coaches would say about that. I don't know. But I just my preference. I think you should get fucking paid. But there are times where it makes sense. So notice even I said there are times where it makes sense. If it's a cool person in the niche or a cool company in the niche that other people in the niche would respect, Might be worth doing it for free and get a rip. But here's the thing. You do it for free, you better get amazing fucking testimonial, and you use that as a condition of the free service. All right, look, Bob, I'll do it for free, but here's the fucking deal. You're going to get, you, Bob, or the CEO of your company is going to get on their phone and give me a 5-minute thing about how fucking great I am. Or I'm going to sit down with the CEO or the senior VP or whatever, and I'm going to interview him for 10 minutes, like I do with Business Builder alumni who make money, just like I do. We're going to have an interview. You're going to tell me how awesome I am for 10 minutes. Sure. Sometimes that makes sense. I'm at a critical point. I started 7 businesses and they all failed. 9 domains. I feel like I'm unlucky and I'll never get the business off the ground. That is normal. You should go listen to the podcast / YouTube channel called My First Million. And one of the things that the guy over there was just teaching is you have to start 10 businesses to make one work. So that's normal. I don't want to get up. How do I change my attitude? I have a feeling you're not doing my techniques. You're coming up with a cool business idea and you're trying to shove it onto the marketplace. I'm guessing that's what you're doing. Because if you follow my models, you wouldn't have to start 7 businesses. 1 or 2 and you're there. So A, in terms of your attitude, that's normal. B, follow my models. And it won't take you 7 tries if you find a narrow niche and ask them what their problem is. It won't take you 7 tries, not even fucking close. Usually the first one, maybe the second one. Hey, Caleb, what's your biggest problem? I'm not a niche. I'm an individual. I don't know if you're making a joke. You have a little smiley face. What's my biggest problem right now? Well, the thing that bothers me is my weight, but I think I have that under control now. Maybe we'll find out. My biggest problem in business are these funnels. My biggest problem in my personal life, I don't have any. I have things I want, but I don't have any problems. Have you seen Portlandia? Yes. It's supposedly a funny comedy about Portland. I don't quite get it, but you might because you live there. It's just a very left-wing. Yeah, I don't watch it. It's a dumb show. It's not my kind of show, but yes, I'm aware of it. For the first client, if it is a friend that I spoke to from the research, when I pitch the full price, if he refuses the price, I go lower, feeling that I can do it for free. Yes, correct. Exactly right. You got the ball. Right. Can't wait till Andrew Tate becomes prime minister. The UK's collapse will be halted. I know you're making a joke. In your 90-day business builder, how long does it take for the average guy to make $3,000 to $5,000 per month? That varies because we focus in business building the first 90 to 120 days. We do a little bit. We don't follow up a lot of people like a year later. We do some. So I don't have those statistics. If 90-day business builder was an entire year-long program, I could give you exact numbers. But it's 90 days and then they get their clients and they're off. And we say, okay, just keep doing what you're doing. Once you get your first 1 or 2 clients, you're off to the races. The first client's hard. Second client's a little hard. Certainly by the 3rd one. So that's why I said the 4th client, you're off the races. It's easy. For warm marketing, if there are people in my life, I had a hard next, toxic families, it's still okay contacting people we mutually know to be warm leads. Yes, I would do it. Absolutely. Just not those people. Also, for the warm leads people you know, you said contact people from your past, even if you're an asshole to them. No, if there's bad blood, then don't. But out of 120 people, that should be 1 or 2. So that should be a non-statistical thing. What would you say are off limits to call creating the warm list? If there's major bad blood, don't do it. And again, out of 120 people, that might be 1 or 2. And if it's more than 2, what's your problem? You got a problem. Off topic, are you still on TRT these days? I'm on TRT for the rest of my life. Yes, I will not go off TRT. It's one of the best decisions made in my life. I would not go off. If yes, how did it affect you over time? It made me millions of dollars and made me happier and improved my sex life and improved my sleep and improved my energy and improved my focus. And it balanced out my hormones and improved my blood lipid panels. It improved my entire life in every way possible, just about you could think of. It's allowed me to maintain my weight, not gain too much weight. If you're a man over 40, TRT, period. Do you still feel the effect these days? I'll feel the effect the rest of my life unless I stop injecting it. How can you not feel the effect? The effect doesn't wear off. Have you heard of the free speech problems the UK is having? Yes, I've been hearing that for 20 fucking years. Why are you living in the UK, you idiot? Get out of there. It's getting really scary out there. Leave. You people who live in the UK are just as stupid as those people living in Los Angeles getting their houses burned down. The people who are still living in LA, in Southern California, you people in London are just as dumb as they are. I don't know what the hell I don't know what the hell you're thinking. You should have already left 5 years ago. I'm embarrassed for you people. I am. I'm embarrassed. This is going to sound mean, but this is the truth. I talk to people here in I'm not in Paraguay, here in Dubai and in Paraguay, people who have left the collapsing West from Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, United States, Canada, Australia. We talk about you guys. Can you believe people still fucking live in London? 3 weeks ago, someone said that to me. Can you believe, Caleb? We were talking about London. Can you believe people are still fucking living in London? What the fuck? Yeah, I don't. Can you believe, Caleb? There are still people living in fucking California. They still there. A lot of people left California. 6%. 94% are still there. Getting their houses burned down. There are still people. I left Portland years ago. There are still people living in Portland, Oregon. There are still people in Germany. There are still people in Florida. Florida's awesome. There are still people in Florida. I don't get it, guys. I don't understand what you're doing. Where do you find scrapers? Upwork.com. And do you have to train them? No, they know how to scrape. You have to give them the niche. And so step one is you determine the niche first. Narrow niche. Because they're going to say, what's your niche? What do you want me to scrape? You got to tell them very specifically. I want, I don't know, I'm making this up. Family-owned, low-end commercial construction companies in Georgia and Florida. Give me their phone numbers. Okay, and they'll go get it. It'll cost you $50, $100, $150. No, they're pretty cheap. I've got 2 clients. Cool, but they insist on doing multiple meetings per week, which means I personally have to be there and can't delegate. Yes, you can. You can delegate that. Yes, you can. You can do it. It's your business. I tell my clients how we play. I don't say, yes, client, I'll do whatever you want. Please don't fire me. Now, it's your first 2 clients. I understand. But going forward, you tell your clients, here's how, when you hire me, here's how it's going to work. Here's the statement of work. We will talk once every X and communicate every Y, and blah, blah, blah. You tell your clients. Any of you who've done coaching with me or consulting with me, you know how I do it. I tell you how we're going to do this. Imagine someone saying, no, Caleb, I want to talk to you every week. No, I'm not talking every week. No, unless you've already paid for that. How do I reduce the amount of meetings? You can talk to them. You can say, look, you don't say, I'm not doing the meetings. Instead, you say, instead of doing the weekly meetings, here's what we're going to do. Write up a report, bullet a thing on Basecamp or whatever, or email, and then I will put it on email, blah, 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 and we'll have a meeting every other week. Or you just negotiate. And if they say, fuck you, and these are your first 2 clients, you got to be a little nice. But that means from now on, your next client, starting on client 3, when you start working with them, you say, now here's how it will work. We will have personal meetings every other week for the first 3 weeks. Then you define the schedule. What you didn't do, and it's okay, you're probably new, is you didn't define the deliverables, as Billy would say. You didn't define it. You said, I'm going to do this, this. And then, well, I'm going to talk every week. Oh, okay. What is TRT? Testosterone replacement therapy. Go to the Alpha Male 2.0 channel, search on testosterone or TRT, and I explain over there. Any negative side effect you experience later in life from TRT? No, you will not experience side effects later. You will only may experience side effects when you first get on and you adjust your doctor, then you're okay, which is what happened to me. But again, I do the protocol. I donate blood every 4 or 5 months. I get a DRE, digital rectal exam, which means finger up the ass, every year. You have to do those. I get my PSA checked all the time. You have to do these things for the rest of your life. You should do them anyway if you're over 45, right? But I do all that stuff. Why would you not bother with your network, and why not just focus on the niche you're selling to? Because you can get it faster. You can get it fast. Marketing takes more time. How much time does it take you to call or text 100 people you already know? You could do it in one afternoon. That's why. But if you don't want to do it, skip it. Fine. You're just making it harder on yourself. If when you change your TRT protocol based on your recent research and best methods, will you write about it? Sure, but I'm not going to change it. Sure. Has your regime changed since you wrote about it in your blog? No, it has not. Same thing. It probably will never change until I get very old. You know what it'll change? When AI or medical technology invents a new way to do it. That's when it'll change. Caleb, do you think there's opportunity to build businesses around the new environmental regulations that have come into the EU? Yes, you ignore those. Your small business has nothing to do with those regulations. Stop paying attention to the news. Maybe helping businesses do the reporting and avoiding fines. Oh, yeah, we have people in business that are doing that. But again, you don't say, hey, I help you avoid fines. You don't do that. You find a narrow niche and you make a bunch of phone calls and you ask them, what is your biggest problem? And then you shut up. You don't lead the witness and you listen. If they say, oh my God, these fucking fines, and you hear 5 people say, oh my God, these fines, now you sell a business like that. You don't do it just because of your idea. No one gives a shit about your idea. You're making the classic mistake that other business owners make. But yes, there are people in business who do this right now, who are working with people specifically in the UK. I know at least one guy avoiding these fucking fines. Yeah. When government gets oppressive, there's all kinds of opportunities for small business owners, including myself. Okay. All right. 1 or 2 more questions. I got to go. Do you think the fires and incompetence around it are on purpose? No, I don't. That's like saying George Bush was behind 9/11. That means you have to be competent. Government is incompetent. Government doesn't know what it's doing. So no, I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's gross incompetence, which people in California encouraged by remaining there. You think California would be this fucked up if 40% of its population had already left? No, they'd be like, oh my God. And they would immediately start getting their act together. But 6% leave over 15 years. They're like, great, people are staying. We can do whatever the fuck we want to these people. Which is exactly what the United States government is doing to you Americans. And the Canadian government is doing to you Canadians. And the UK government's doing to UK people. You're staying there. And the government's like, great, they're putting up with this. This is awesome. I talked about this, and then I'll wrap this up because last quick point about this. I talked about this during the pandemic. When all the lockdowns and you had to wear masks and you had to get the jab and all this stupid crap you people had to do. I didn't do any of that because I left. I fucking left. But you people had to do all this shit. The elites were like, holy shit, they did it. When the elites did all that to you idiots who didn't leave your countries, now many of you were smart and you left. Good for you. But those who are still there, the elites went, holy shit, we made them social distance. We told them to stay home. We arrested them if they were walking alone on a beach. We made them wear masks. We made them get the stupid vax that didn't work. And they did it. They didn't leave. They didn't protest. They did protest that one time in summer, but that was one time thing. And they didn't, there wasn't a mass exodus from the United States. They put up with it. Awesome. What should have happened in the United States during the pandemic, 25 million people should have left the United States instead of a handful like me. I left in 2021. I said, fuck this. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this. And I went to Dubai where you could walk, what most of the United States was locked down. Dubai was wide open. You could walk outside, do whatever you want. Go movies and restaurants, malls. Everything's locked down in the United States. Hilarious. It shouldn't have been a fraction of a fraction, 1% leaving. It should have been 25 million people, 20 million people. And if that had occurred, the government would have said, oh my God, okay, fine, you don't have to wear masks. Fine, you go to work. Fine. We can't have these people leaving. The reason these things keep happening to you, those of you who are still in the collapsing Western world, is because you put up with it. Yes, you bitch about it on social media. The elites don't care. They don't care about you bitching. You put up with it. And so you show the elites, awesome, they'll put up with whatever the fuck we want. I said that the way you reacted during the pandemic was a trial run for the elites for future shit that they may do. Well, they did that during the pandemic, and they complained about it on social media, but we don't care. And they did riot in that one summer, but we don't give a shit. They stayed in the country. They still paid their taxes. Cool. We can do this again whenever the fuck we want. And they're right. Ultimate example of this is those of you who are anti-jab who got the jab anyway. I'll leave you with this, and I want you to think about this. Those of you who were anti-jab, but you got the jab anyway because your boss said you had to, or your stupid 9-to-5 job said you had to, or your school where your kids went said you had to. It's like, well, I had to. I didn't have to. I never got that. But you did, even though you're against it. Now, if you're pro-jab and you got it, fine. Most of you in my audience were against it. There's a hell of a lot of you in my audience who are against that jab, but you got it anyway because you're a slave. And the majority of you are still in the United States, Canada, Europe, Australia. You're still there. You haven't left yet. Don't have your own business yet. So I just showed you how to get your first 3 clients. No more excuses. You get this done. You can have this done in 6 months. You can go from 9-to-5 slave trapped in the collapsing West to location independent entrepreneur making several thousand a month and possibly either leaving the country or in the process of doing so within 6 months. It's only January. By June, you could have this done. You could. I've seen it happen many times. Or you can keep making more excuses. Cool. Cool. All right. If you're interested in the Alpha Male 2.0, I have another channel, if you're new, called Alpha Male 2.0 for Men. I can't really talk about the content of that topics. It's a little, you know what I'm saying? So you can go over there. It's Alpha Male 2.0. You can search on YouTube and or alphamale20.com/podcast. I will be talking over there on Wednesday. I'll see you very soon. Bye.